Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's doing great. Today was a snowy day. I'm Katrina. You are at Sow and Tare live chat. We do this every Monday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and it's a whole lot of fun. So, if you're new here, and even if you're not, go ahead and let us know who you are, where you're from, what you're growing, or what you're planning to grow. Blip, blip, blip. Let me try that slower. Or what you are planning to grow. So, uh, if you're new, go ahead and put all your questions, all your comments into the chat. I can answer some things, other people can answer some things. We'll share our experiences and have a good time. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and put comments in the comments as well, and see, and we will answer those, or maybe get different videos of those. So, um, well, I have a special topic of discussion, which we'll probably get to pretty quick, but let me go and scroll up and see who's here. All right, PJ says, I'll try to be here, but definitely see you Saturday. Awesome. So Saturday is, so we do a monthly Cook With Me Live on this channel if you are a member of the channel. And what PJ is talking about is we are going to make some fun things. If you went into community post on YouTube, you can see this, but I'll put the link here. We are going to be doing a double feature again because I have to make up for stuff. So on Saturday, we are going to be making pumpkin glop. Now, doesn't that sound wonderful? Pumpkin glop is basically cooked pumpkin puree. And it is an ingredient in a lot of different things. It is something that should not be canned. It's a density issue. Don't do it. You can freeze it, which is what I have generally done. You can freeze dry it, but canning it is too thick to, it's too thick. The density is wrong, basically, to can it. So we are making pumpkin glop, and then the next day we will be making, and we're going to be making pie crust. So you can either choose your favorite pie crust to make pie with, or you can learn the one that I have, which includes an egg and lemon juice is a difference. It's more of a pastry-ish thing. It's not flaky, but it's super, super good, and the only one I ever use anymore. So we are going to be making pumpkin glop and pumpkin glop and pie filling, not filling. Why can't I say this? I'm going to start over. Pumpkin glop and pie pastry. So it is a big recipe, so you can put things in the freezer. And if you make it with us on Saturday, you can have probably enough pastry through the holidays, all the way through New Year's. If you have single pie, then that's good. So Sunday we will be making pumpkin pie, as you can imagine, pumpkin pie, and then also we are going to be making a pumpkin soup, which is one of my friend and coworkers' recipe, which I love that recipe. So we're going to be making both of those things. So total, you will need 4 3/4 cup pumpkin glop. Now, when we talk about how much puree comes out of a pie pumpkin, one recipe for 2 pies is 3 cups of pumpkin glop. That is 1 pie pumpkin. If it's not 1 pie pumpkin, I just still use 1 pie pumpkin's worth if I don't already have it measured out. Now, what I tend to do is that's usually the only thing I use it for, and so I will separate it out into freezer bags and actually dry them, freeze them flat, and have 3 cups of pumpkin glop in the freezer so I can just pull that out and use it. But we're going to make it from scratch all the way through, and it'll be good. And that leaves 1 3/4 cup pumpkin glop for the soup. Now, the soup the original recipe calls for just canned pumpkin off the shelf at the store. Not pumpkin pie filling, but just pumpkin. So if you're going to purchase that, go ahead and do that way. But otherwise, I recommend you just do two pie pumpkins or another kind of squash. I'm going to be using a different kind of squash because I have it. So there we go. So that is what she's talking about. And then if you would like to join the group, there's a join button below. And then I'll put the link here. So the link I already did was basically for the ingredients and kind of plan timing and all that for this coming weekend. But this is just to join the membership. So it's fun. It's fun. You cook in your kitchen while I cook in my kitchen and we talk. All right, Eric is here. Welcome, Eric. And I don't really know what that emoji thing is, but it is an emoji thing. Welcome. All right, Verna's confirming that PJ and Eric are here. And Verna's third like. Awesome. Verna is Vase Place. She has a blue name with a little blue wrench. That means she's my moderator. Keeps the bad guys from being bad. At least on this live. So thank you. And if you are wanting to learn how to grow things in a very small space, she grows things at her apartment. Check out her channel. All right. Oh, BJ's here. Welcome. All right. Any news? Oh, I'm guessing we're asking PJ if there's any news. I could share your I don't know if you have any news, but hopefully you have some news. I'm not going to share what I think your news is. All right. Dawn's here. Good evening from South Central Illinois. First like. Awesome. Dawn always gets here super early. Welcome, Dawn. And I am super impressed in how you are recovering with your walking and all that. You are doing awesome. Continue that. All right. Everybody's saying hello, hi, hey. Verna says, I have spicy sprouts growing right now. Is that radish? Is that what spicy sprouts are? Or mustard? What are spicy sprouts? And this is actually something that I was going to ask you guys if you want me to do it again. I mean, I probably want to do it again just in general because I want to. But teaching you how to grow sprouts with just like a jar. You don't even have to have a jar. It could just be a container. And I can do another video on that if you'd like, because I'm thinking about doing that here pretty soon. I still have zucchinis on the counter. I have actually several of them, and I have several winter squashes, but I still have not planted things like I should have. It's okay. It snowed today. First snow of the year. There we go. Yeah. So I'm planning on doing that sometime. Okay. Okay. No news from PJ. All right. All right. Dawn has microgreens just out of blackout today. Awesome. 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 How old are your microgreens when you eat them? Yeah, PJ's asking Dawn how she's doing. She's doing, oh, yeah. I think she's doing pretty good, but let's see how she says. Berna's asking, have you ever made puff pastry? I have made I don't know actually if it's puff pastry or not, but it's the one, it's like I guess it's a cream puff where it's a little one that puffs up and then you bag the like cream into it. I made that. I don't know if that's puff pastry. I don't know the name of the thing I made. Oh, an error occurred on YouTube. Okay. Apparently link was too long. Let's see if I can shorten it and put it there if it goes through. Hopefully. All right. Oh, it was puff pastry. See, I don't even know the terms, PJ. Yeah, so PJ is telling Verna last month we made bear claws from a type of puff pastry. So yes, I have. Thank you for knowing me better than me, PJ. Yeah, so we made bear claws last month, and those were always super good to make and super yummy. And oh man, I'm gonna make some more. But if you haven't tried that, it's so awesome and super easy. then that recipe, you can make the first part and then wait up to 3 days to do the second part. So if you're super busy, you can can accommodate things. And you guys know me, I'm busy all the time. And I like things that can be a multiple day option. So yeah, they were super good. And if you want to learn how to make those, and you join the Katrina's Kits and Cook With Me Live, those are actually saved. We record it and we save it for members to rewatch. So if you join now, then you can rewatch everything we've done up to now and then continue forward. So it's a lot of fun. All right. Dawn's fine. Going to the surgeon tomorrow. Walked a block Friday and got kicked out of PT. Moving to facility PT again. Okay. All right. We're walking forward. Awesome. Hey, Buster. Buster says hey to all. Welcome. And Steve, welcome, Steve. Steve says I'm here. Don't know why. I have no more reminders to offer. Makes me unemployed. Reminder. Do I need you to give me another reminder, Earth? You want to remind me to call Harvest right? Because I still haven't done that. You need a job, Steve. Steve's referring to the fact that I actually ordered a scythe, and he's been my reminder for I don't know how many weeks to do that. And so that's what he's referencing to. I do need to call Harvest right, but there we go. If you need a task, you have it. If you don't, that's fine. Dragon Girl's here. Welcome. Hi, everyone, she says. Welcome, welcome. From True Leaf. I think of True Leaf as like the sweetener. Is that right? Not right? I don't know. Not sure what. Okay, so it is a mix of sprouts. Got it. I'm betting if it's a spicy mix, I'm betting there's a lot of brassicas, like mustards and stuff, because those can be spicy, and then radishes can also be spicy. Yeah. All right. That was cool this morning, Katrina. What was cool? Did you see my video on the snow? Is that what's cool? I don't know what's cool. All right. Same as any other stranger. Hello, hello. Hi, still here, still caring. That is good. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. What are you growing? Or what are you wanting to learn to grow? All right. So Dawn says, I start picking on the microgreens around day 4 and harvest usually day 8. Okay. Awesome. So when I had not done microgreens, but I have done sprouts, and sprouts generally take about 4 days. It's going to kind of depend on what you're actually sprouting, but alfalfa sprouts is my favorite sprout. And then also mung beans are also very good. I think I have a couple other things to sprout, and I don't remember what they are that I was going to try, but alfalfa sprouts are always good. Yeah. All right. Verna says puff pastry uses a lot of butter rolled into the dough. It's what you make danishes with. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I've made croissants too, which is kind of it's different than what we did for bear claws because it's more of a layering and you have to keep it cold. It's a layering of butter and a folding and all of that. That takes a very long time, and I've only done it once, and they were very good, but not nearly as like fluffy as the ones you can get elsewhere. So yeah. All right. And Dawn says, I claimed my closet clothes today. Hubby fight dressing in print top and different print pants. Oh my gosh. I sorted and took out clothes. Okay. Now you take care of you. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is good. That is good. Um, yes, it was me with snow. Yes. We actually got quite a bit of snow. Not quite a bit. I actually don't know how much we got, and I had right after I checked the rain gauge this morning, it wasn't snow had fallen, but it wasn't falling. And probably 15 minutes after I checked the rain gauge this morning, it started to fall, and it kept on falling in big, huge, wet, heavy flakes. And so, okay, well, this was the topic of the day. We're getting to it a lot earlier, but snow and winter preparedness, or winter preparedness kind of stuff is what I was going to have a topic of. But basically, here it was very, very extremely wet snow. So it didn't even stick on the road or on the driveway until, well, I don't know what time it was when that happened, but for a very long time. It had to cool off a little bit. And it's like 33 now. Yes, 33 now. I think it got up to 36 today. um, but it was it's such a wet amount of snow that when I measured the snow this morning, you measure it with a special ruler that is in tenths of an inch, and the tenths it was 2/10 of an inch, so teeny tiny bit. And when I melted that, it was 0.18, which you can tell is very close to 2/10 of water, an inch of water. And so the majority of it was water. And uh, usually, if snow is not that heavy and wet, it it's nice and fluffy. It has more air, and you may melt something that's this big, and it may have like only this much moisture in it. Whereas this one was almost a 1-to-1. So I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to measure it this time because like it snowed. It snowed a lot, but the moisture, it went down. And then like a lot of it didn't accumulate. So anyway, it'll be interesting. I'll have a lot of notes in there, and if they have questions, we can answer them. The other thing about big flakes is they go off of the tube. So when you measure with snow, that's a whole other process. And if it's going to snow, you're supposed to take out the funnel on the inner tube. So anyway, there you go. And and a neighbor that I hadn't met yet from down the road, she was driving by and she came in the driveway like she knew where she was going. And I was in here working, and I meet her out on the front porch, and she goes, "Hey, I know you're new here. I just wanted to make sure you knew that on this street the power goes out, every once in a while, and I want to make sure you're gonna be okay." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." And then like I had to ask her name. She was just so focused in going. And so yeah, that was nice. And then another neighbor also texted me, "Hey, how you doing? Is it snowing?" And so that was really nice to hear because it was like pretty heavy snow. It wasn't like right now there's like that much snow on the ground where there is snow on the ground. All right. Da-da. Okay, and Berna says we will be getting snow Thursday. Don says he's going to hate me mocking. No. Oh no. Dawn, have patience. Have patience as much as you can. Oh my gosh. Steve says, "Careful, Dawn. You may need protection. You can't run quite yet. You're just gonna get there pretty quick." Um, and she said, your PT said, "Don't try to run." Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. Dawn, you're funny. Okay. Um, Same as any other strangers. Does anyone else feel like a bee contributing to the warmth of the hive. I've got something on eBay. Okay. Oh, the joke? Yeah, sometimes you contribute a little bit, huh? Steve says they know you were from California and wanted to make sure you weren't snowed in. One of them was originally from California too. I don't know about the other one. So, no, I'm not snowed in. I think people just want to check on each other. You know, we're far enough apart to, you know, check on each other and close enough together to come and, you know, if we're needed and get together. So, yeah. Dawn says, I walked today. It was 64. It was 66 at Verna's place. Awesome. Yeah, so last night we got snow and it was wintry mix. So we have the same prediction for tonight. It being 33 degrees, I'm guessing, and it's supposed to warm up and rain for the next forever. I'm guessing it's going to probably snow some and then go to rain, and I'll probably not. I'm going to guess when I get up in the morning, there probably won't be much in the way of snow, at least on the ground. Maybe on the hills or something. But yeah. So let's talk about snow and preparedness. One of my neighbors asked me if I had a generator today. I said, yeah. Oh, I don't have gas. So make sure you have gas. Now, here's something maybe one of you guys can answer. I apparently moved with a partial can like that full of with gas that is old. I have no idea how old. And yeah, I'm thinking it might contribute to an outdoor fire. And that might be a good way to use it because gasoline does go bad, I believe, within 6 months or so. But this is definitely more than a year. So that's what I'm thinking. I've also heard that if you have a full tank of gas, you can put it in there. But I don't want to ruin my car for that. Anyway, what is your guys' experience? What do you guys do for your generators? How much gas do you store? I have two. I think they're 5-gallon. So they have just the regular gas cans. I have two of those, and that's what I have. But I want to know about you guys. I know a lot of people use propane and propane generators and all of that. So I want to know what you guys use, what you guys store, what you guys want to use or store. I do have, and I don't remember if I said this on here yet, but I did buy EcoFlow. Cost a lot. I have plans to do solar across the road and actually power the house mostly, if not all, by solar if I can. Understanding that I live in a rainy area and that also I'm on the northern slope, so it has to be in the pasture across the way. And it might not suffice in winter totally for getting everything. But because of that, I do have that. So I did unpack that and plug it into the wall. That way it will have something. I'll have energy. It's basically a big battery bank, except for I got more than one battery. So once it is fully charged, which it will be by tomorrow, then I'll at least have a battery bank I can use. And instead of running a generator, I'll just be able to plug stuff into that for quite a long time, I think. But I still need to get gas for the generator just in case. Now, the EcoFlow that I got, it is, I'm not recommending it at all yet because I have not used it. I recommend they do their instructions better. That's what I recommend, but I figured it out. And I do know someone else that has what I have and loves it. And so I'm there. So I want to see what you guys are using, what you guys plan to use and all of that. So let's see what people respond to. Another thing is to think about, okay, right now I'm talking about winter. We can talk about summer, a different time or whatever. But in winter, you basically need your heat, your freezers and fridges. If you are in a very cold climate, maybe you don't plug that in. But if your fridges and freezers, um, those are going to be your main ones. And then mine's not hooked up to it yet. I do plan on hooking everything up. But if you have a well, it will be well. And then if you are not hooked up to the well like that, or water or whatever, you should have some storage of water, which I do have. So um, anyway, let's talk about that. I'll give you guys some talking points and talk about that. And if there's anything else I'm thinking of that you would need to absolutely power. Oh, so once my leach field is hooked up, because it's going to have a tank up next to the septic tank that is a pump, because it has to stay pressurized, because it has to go downhill and uphill. That should be hooked up as well, because um, in a normal situation you can continue flushing a toilet. Even if you don't have water, you can bring water in and flush the toilet. But it would probably not be advisable if that pump wasn't, electrified. It wasn't working. So anyway, let's see what you guys say, and we will get into it. Told you we'd hit it early. All right. Thursday will be snowy at Verna's, and Friday rain. Yeah, it's supposed to snow winter mix tonight, and then I think it's rain after that for a very long time. Steve says we lose electric here. We have no backup. We just have darkness. Okay. Okay. One thing you can use if you have an incubator going is they're really good to have on hand is those hand warmers that you just snap, and you just like it comes in a little packet and you snap it, and then you just kind of move it around until it gets hot, and they stay really hot. And those can actually heat your incubators. And so throw some of those in there, not on the eggs, because those eggs might not hatch because it's too hot. But into the incubator and wrap it with a blanket, and you should be good for at least, a little while. Those last very long time. I've done that. I've also boiled water, which you can do very easily if you have a gas stove. I don't have a gas stove, so I have fire. I do have a fireplace. I can do that inside. There's an area outside that's set up with like a little tiny grill-like thing to put a pot that I could do outside cooking with that. I also have a propane camp stove, and I don't have like a big one or anything, but I'm able to heat up stuff and cook stuff. But you can boil water, put it into a container, wrap it with like a flour sack towel, and put that in when you have chicks that are in a brooder. You can put that in with them, and they will snuggle up next to it, and they'll be fine. I did that. I had like day-old chicks that I had, day-old or 2-day-old chicks that I had, in the brooder. But the heat plate doesn't work when the electricity isn't on, and we had a power outage, I think, for like 8 hours or something. So I did that. I put them in the cooler. Luckily, it was nighttime, so they could just sleep. But I put them in the cooler with a little mat underneath, so they wouldn't get splay leg. And they actually, and so I had them in the cooler, and then I closed the cooler and left it open like that much. I shoved something in there so they wouldn't, so they would have air. And they were completely fine. So that works too. So that's another idea for your animals. And I mean, if you don't have a gas stove, so gas stove, basically reason why a gas stove would not light is the igniter. So if you have to turn it and it goes click, 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 boom, to light, when it's clicking, you can take a match or take a lighter and actually light it right there. So I do have a video on that, and maybe I should find it, but let's see what other people say. Dawn says, don't know what Thursday will be here. Have not heard snow, rain, but may have changed it. Yeah. It changes. Berta says, I don't have one, but if I lived in the country, I would do a solar generator. Yep. And the EcoFlow, what I have, you can plug in low power solar, a higher power solar. You can plug it in from a gas generator, and you can plug it in directly to the wall. So it has all that stuff in it. So that is a really good thing. So I'm predicting it's a really good thing. All right. Dawn says solar is rip here. Too dark most of the time, or chemtrail cover. My solar panels are still in the boxes. If needed, can toss on the garage roof. I have wind and gas generator first. Wind, awesome. That's interesting to have a wind generator, and it makes sense, especially if you're in a windy area. Yeah, so I don't know how many solar panels or what kind of array I need for my area, but I do think it will look like more than I would have needed when I was in, Gilroy, California. So I need to meet up with someone localish that might be able to figure out that with me. Yeah. There's probably somebody with the county that would do that. There's probably things that I'm paying taxes for and didn't know. Like I didn't know I'm in a Firewise community. I now know that. And the county, there's a funded thing that people can come out and trim around your structures and stuff. So that's included in the taxes I pay. So I got to figure out what else I'm paying for. All right. Taking advantage of that, right? Okay. Scrolling down. Dawn says, in the winter, toss your food on the back porch if your freezers don't have power. Did that one year and it worked great. That would work great. It might get eaten by bears, but it would work great until then. Yeah, in the wintertime, so I grew up with snow in the high desert. Excuse me, in Central Oregon. And in the wintertime, you have extra things you're baking, extra company that's coming over, all of that, and you don't want to go to the store as often. So the workbench in the garage became the refrigerator. So I remember, my mom putting out, milk and eggnog and orange juice and all that was in the garage, the extras. And you don't have to go to the store for a while because you have a garage that is a cooler. And it worked pretty good. So I don't know if they still do that actually, because I think it's warmer temperatures now than it used to be. Okay. And versus the 18-hour ones. Yeah, the 18-hour the hand heater things, yeah. Dawn says, one winter our city water tower went out all of a sudden. No stored water. Ran to fill 5 gallons times 3. Used a frozen luggable loo. Had to wait to thaw for the toilet. It stays in the house now. Yeah. That would be a thing if you don't want it to freeze on you. Man. Yeah. So I am on well water, and so that's something I need to pay attention to. I do have a thermocube in the well house with a heat lamp connected to that. So if it gets down to 35 degrees inside the well house, it should kick on. So yeah, that will be good if it's needed. All right. PJ says, I've got a gas stove, but can't use oven, only stove when no power. Yeah, that's often the case, I think. And I don't know the construction of those ovens enough to know like what all is affected electrically. But obviously like temperature would be and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a good point. Good point. Orlando's here. Yeah, hi everyone. I'm coming back after a long time. Welcome back. You were gone for a long time, hopefully for good reasons. And coming back for good reasons too. So welcome back. All right, let us know how you're doing. Dawn says, at least it's something. I bought a dumb stove and oven just so I can heat with oven. Okay. Dragon Girl says, my stove and oven are electric. I have a butane single burner camp stove for emergencies. Yep. Also have a Vesta, but haven't used it yet. I don't know what a Vesta is, but I know I've heard of it. Vesta. It's a goddess. There are a whole bunch of stuff has come up, so I don't know what it is, but I recognize the name. But yeah, having backups is a really good idea. And yeah. Thank you. I sneezed. I've been blessed. Thank you. PJ says, every place I look at in South Carolina has everything electric. Yeah, it's going like that in a lot of places. And like I'm kind of getting used to cooking on electric now. I have not pressure canned on electric yet. And I will be doing that, probably wait until after Thanksgiving. But I have bone broth to do. So I haven't pressure canned on it yet, which I think is going to be a little bit more finicky. Water bath canning is fine, but yeah, whereas I used to just put, I have my cast iron on the stove, I turn it on, I wait a few seconds, I put on the fat, I wait a few more seconds and put on whatever I'm making. Now I have to turn it on, walk away, do something else, come back, put on the fat, wait for that to heat up, and it takes a longer time. Once it's at temperature, it's okay, but it does take a lot of more time to get everything hot. And actually, I'm still haven't gotten this out of my system yet, or out of my, anyway. When I have a pan that I pour, like I don't know where my teapot is yet. I'm not all unpacked yet, but I made tea and I'm making it in just like a pan, and so I guesstimate there and pour it in, and then I'm like, oh, I'll just put it back, and then it's boiling in 2 seconds because the the burner's still hot even though I turned it off. So I'm getting used to it. There you go. Dawn says, oh, don't look at your tax bill. I'm in Illinois. For South Carolina or for here? I actually just paid my taxes, and I think it's better than California. All right. Dawn says, I put my food from freezer into coolers, put on back steps. You had to specify that. No bears. Well pump might be an issue in a power outage. Yep. So I have plans. I have been loosely researching. There's a few out there, hand well pumps, which I think can be added to the existing well. Now, my well's only 7 feet deep, so if I needed to take another something and do that, then that would be fine. And I would boil that water because right now I have a UV light that does the bacteria. It gets rid of the bacteria. And then, of course, I have the under the sink reverse osmosis for the what is it? Aluminum. So there's some aluminum in there that for drinking water take out. In an emergency, okay, I'll boil the water and I'll have some aluminum. And that would be a short-term thing. But that is for an emergency situation, I would like to have a hand pump on the well, or some other place have a hand pump able to get water. Now I do know I am right near a creek. If I needed to, I could go get water there. If it was down to that kind of desperation or something. But rather do it here. And I always have stored water as well. All right. But you are right. Well pump would be an issue. Verna says, my apartment is all electric. If power went out here, you're not doing anything. All right. Verna says, I would be afraid of canning on electric stove. Why? It's fine. It's just on a gas range, you're able to make minute changes. And so it's just going to take some time for me to learn my stovetop for electric. Yeah. Yeah, Don's right. So Don says you can buy a buddy heater and connect to a small propane tank. Yep. Buddy heaters work, and they have the when if it tips over, it turns off kind of thing. Yeah. You can't have propane in apartment complexes here. I mean, I understand why, but at the same time, yeah. Dawn. Oh my gosh, they inspect for that? Goodness. Dawn says, yes, a hand pump is very handy. We had one at a cabin when we first met. Awesome. Awesome. Dragon Girl says, not many electric stovetops are compatible with canning. Fortunately, mine is. Having said that, I've also been buying Presto electric canner. So I would say, so my stove, I believe, is pretty old, and it's sturdy. It should be sturdy. I think it should be fine. I know with glass top, that is more true. I have the kind with the coil. And so glass top, that I know that's true. You should definitely check with your manufacturer. I'm going to can on this no matter what, but I would caution you against electric canning, and I will give my evidence and you can make your decision. And I'm assuming you're talking pressure canning. If it's a steam canner or a water bath canner that's electric, that's completely fine. And steam canners are used for water bath. They're used very similarly, and I do not have one, so I'm not going to tell you all about. But pressure canners should either have a weight gauge where there's a known weight and it weighs the same, and you put it on and it's not going to change, which is what I have. You can get that in Presto. You can get that in All American. I'm sure there are other brands that you can get that in. Those are the ones I'm aware of. If you have a dial gauge where you are solely relying on the dial to tell you what pressure it is, that is supposed to be calibrated every single year. Now, if that's supposed to be calibrated every single year, and I'm sure most people don't, but it is supposed to be, and electric one is going to likely, in my opinion, need that calibration more often. And I don't know who does that. I don't know who would do that. But I just think of how many times your phone needs to update, how many times your computer needs to update, how many times things are wrong in the electric world. And it might be easy, but it might not be healthy. And so because you can't, to my knowledge, you can't adjust the pressure anyway. And you may be able to, you may not be able to, but also know for pressure canning, your elevation matters. So if you're at sea level, most things are 10 pounds per pressure. If you are above 1,000 feet, which is where I am, it's usually 15 pounds of pressure. If I don't remember what the next thing is, if it's 5,000 or something else, I don't remember what the next one is, but there's another measurement that it's even more pounds of pressure. So I would thoroughly research that with that in mind, and maybe even contact the company and see how they're calibrating it. and how it is expected to retain its calibration before buying it. So I will never have one. Maybe a steam canner or water bath canner, that'll be fine. But the pressure, I would recommend against that, but use your own judgment and educate yourself before doing it. There we go. I can get off my soapbox. Okay. Dawn says you have more freedom in a 10-man tent. Yeah, for apartments. Yeah. Dawn says I took a Coleman stove to a hotel, made popcorn in the bathroom. People smelled it. Then we cooked on it in the bathroom. Got tired of restaurants. Yeah, so I used to do a lot of field work for my work. I'm a wildlife biologist professionally. I now work from home and I'm project manager, but I spend a whole summer in the hotel, basically, motel, and we would cook in the corner of the parking lot and on a Coleman stove, or I think they even let us, because we're staying there the whole summer. I think we even made a fire in the corner of the parking lot and had coals and stuff with a Dutch oven one time. But yeah, you can do that. Just make sure you're okay with it. Steve says camping propane, 1 gallon, fits easily under a sink or a drawer. There you go. There you go. Verna says there's only one electric pressure canner that is FDA sealed approval, and that is one of the Presto canners. I want to correct you because you're partially right. FDA does not approve pressure canners. What they do is they set standards, and if those standards are met, that is what they're saying they have met the standards. There is no approval process through the FDA that I am aware of for pressure canners. So a little difference, but a very big difference. And if I am wrong, definitely show me an article of how I'm wrong. Nicely. I don't have to say this, Verna. It's for someone else. All right. Dawn says pressure canner people in my group with electric stoves will set up propane tops outside and cook on them to keep heat out of the house. Yeah, I've seen those setups, and I think they're a really, really good setup. And I may be doing that in the future. Right now, I'm okay with trying it inside and see how it adjusts and all of that. And I do have an all-American canner, so it is heavy enough to do stuff over fire and all of that. So yeah, so that is an option. Verna says that would be how I would do it, Dawn. Yep. That makes sense. Dawn says, I cooked elderberry syrup on the back porch to simmer it down on an electric burner every summer. It stunk. Easier outside, and then canned it in the oven. I don't know about canning it in the oven, but if you make it outside, then that's good. Elderberry syrup should be water bath canned. All right, Steve says, Presto says, responds to temperature and automatically adjusts to maintain the process temperature at higher elevations. I'm sure the food people will be testing them soon. That's not a how. That's just saying what. And personally, I would not use that. But you guys have your own information to collect, and I have given you my opinion and my reasonings behind it. Yeah. Oh, and Don says I did that too. Cook on a truck tailgate at a motel once. Yeah. Yep. Lived on the road too long. Yeah. When you're out for work and you're just out all week, and literally we were staying at a place. It was a truck stop. Like There were 4 gas stations. There's more there now, but there was 4 gas stations. There was like 2 or 3 fast food places, and you can only eat there so many times before you're like, let's bring real food. Yeah. Plus, they had mini fridges in the rooms, which is helpful to that process. All right. Turkey fryer brace is great for outside canning. That's what I've seen people use. Steve says, I've only ever done canning, bath and pressure on my electric stove, never had gas. Yeah, you can totally do it on your electric stove. I think where people aren't doing it on their electric stove, where it doesn't work well, is on things like the newer electric stoves are mostly glass top, and it can actually crack the top. It's heavy enough that it can crack the top of some of them. So that's why people say that. Electric, if you're used to electric and you've never cooked with gas, or maybe it's been a long time, you may not realize that the sensitivity isn't there. So you may be like, oh, I just turn it up and then I wait and then it's way too high and then I turn it down and I'll find it eventually. Whereas a gas stove, which I do not have anymore, you can just turn it and you'll see that impact immediately. You can turn it up, you can turn it down, and you'll see that impact immediately. So it's yeah, it's a different process. Verna says, I would rather freeze dry instead of canning. There's sometimes the canning is a good thing to do. I mean, and when you have, I mean, I know you can heat up water and add chili to it and it can be chilly, but sometimes it's just easy to pop that in, in a pot and heat it up. And, soups and chilies and stuff, I think are really good that way. And you can also do it freeze dried. Nothing against that. But I do want to actually can a bunch of broth because I'll use it, but then also because my freeze dryer, so I haven't called them. I need reminding. Oh boy. Steve says I can't freeze dry my jellies. Well, you don't know that, do you? There would be kind of no purpose in that, but unless you wanted to sprinkle it over your peanut butter sandwich. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so there's some things that are good like that. And then like juice, a lot of I did freeze dry a lot of juice. It made a lot of powder, and that's really, really good. But like sometimes the water in the fruit, depending on where you are, especially, sometimes the water in the fruit is going to be a tastier water than what's out of your tap. So that's another thing to think about for some of that stuff. But yeah. Steve says, I want a jelly sandwich, not a sprinkle powder sandwich. How do you know? It could be a salad. Sorry, inside joke for some of us here. Oh my gosh. How funny. Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like a couple of people have snow coming, a couple of people have rain coming. This was kind of a surprise to me because it was supposed to be, I think originally they had it for Saturday, and it was like, what was the warning? I think I texted my dad. Let me see if I can find it. So there was a warning that came up on my phone, and it said, my goodness, I texted a lot. It says significant snowfall expected Sunday afternoon. So that came in either Friday or Saturday. Yeah, expected Sunday afternoon. And the significant snowfall was 0.2 of an inch. And then it said it again for today. And it really was coming down a lot. And I was really like, oh boy, this is going to be a lot. And then it just stopped and started melting. So we will see what happens tonight and how much snow we get, but it might be the story of, a little bit of snow and a little bit of melt. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. So, I did not get to see the kittens enjoying any of the snow because I was inside working and they didn't go in my view. They had their breakfast and their dinner, but that was inside the carport, so they may not have left at all. Little Ringo the kitty, he followed me when I this morning I put a camera over on the back of the house, looking up at the trees while it was snowing, and he came with me for that. He was sliding around, kind of funny. But yeah, I didn't see how the kitties were doing, and so they all showed up for their meals, and that's fine. Chickens don't know any different. They're inside their palace right now. I did get another egg today. I got an egg yesterday. So Rexy's, I don't know if she's back to daily laying, but she's back to doing something. And then the bunnies, I don't think they care. To be honest, nothing really phases them. They're pretty good. Yeah. All right. Verna's asking, have you heard of pickle bread? I have heard of pickleball. No, I have not heard of pickle bread. I have had fried pickles, fried dill pickles, and those were very good. What else is in this? Tell me more. Steve says we may get our first frost on Friday, but not yet anyway. Okay. Yeah, we had our first frost in October sometime, and that was kind of a surprise to be that early because I think it was supposed to be mid-November. But I think I looked it up and I'm like on an edge thing, one of those edges of expectations. So I guess from now on I'll plan mid-October and hope for later. Dawn says, "Oh wow, it's pouring and lightninging now. Not in the forecast. Uh-oh. Stay safe." All right. Brenna says it's dill pickles and cheese that they add to their bread mix. Okay. I mean, I don't hate that. Have you cooked it? Is it good? Ooh, Dawn has not had frost yet. All right. And Steve says they've not advertised it. They've not advertised it. Just the right temp for it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let us know if you are frosty in the morning. Oh, that could have been true too. Verna's saying that Dawn was in the hospital when the freeze hit. That could have been the case too. Oh, it didn't freeze there. Okay, maybe it wasn't the case. Verna says, have not made it. Just saw them make it today on Facebook. Okay. I mean, if you like pickles and you like cheese, might as well try it. What I've been wanting, I don't know if it's a craving yet, but what I've been wanting is hard-boiled eggs, right? And make egg salad sandwiches. But I have one chicken that sometimes lays, and the other girls still are not laying. Smile laid a couple, and then she's like, I'm on break. I'm on vacation. So I don't know what's going on with her. And Rexy is laying hers. So here's a question nobody's asking. How do I know who's laying when I'm not actually seeing them lay? Well, if you guys saw the video from, I don't know, was it last week? That was Rexy going to all the nest boxes. They actually act very different. This is the first winter I've had light on them. So they act very different when they're in their winter time and in their summertime. So in their breeding time and in their non-breeding time, basically. Egg laying, non-egg laying. And so, for example, Oviraptor, the Buff Orpington. She's my little cuddle chicken in the summer. But if she's not laying eggs, she does not want to cuddle. So if she's like, no, don't touch me, I'm like, okay, well, you're obviously not laying eggs. Smilo doesn't really like to be touched much anyway. She's okay with it sometimes. She's more okay if I pick her up once I pick her up. She's not okay with being picked up. If I pick her up and set her next to me, she'll hang out for a little bit. But you know, she actually responds okay to getting pet when she is laying. Now, both Rexy and Oviraptor will want scratchies. So they don't have a boyfriend in there. And so they want scratchies when they lay eggs. And basically, they just want their back scratched. And if you know about chickens and roosters, then you will make assumptions. Anyway, so I do that. And Rexy will peck my leg until she gets it if I'm not offering. And Overwrap is pretty funny. She comes up and she stomps. And she's like, I need scratchies right now. So that's how I know who's laying is Rexy is the only one who's asking for scratchies. And the other thing is if you pass your hand over her, she'll go like this. So she'll duck down and she'll put out her wings a little bit because she's going to need to balance. Anyway, whether or not you wanted to know that, you do now. All right. Dawn's got into the 40s. And Dawn wants to try fried pickles. It's actually good. So you slice them, the dill pickles, you slice them, bread them, flour and egg, and a little bit of salt and pepper, whatever else you want. I like pepper. And fry them. And they're actually very good. I had that when I was introduced to boiled peanuts, which was less good. I don't understand that one. Yeah. I don't know if anybody else might understand that. I think Steve might be the closest geographically to where that is popular. Let us know. All right. And Steve is saying, Dawn, when you do, slice is better than spears. All right, that's good. Everett says maybe because too many nest boxes. You think she's not laying because there's too many choices? Maybe. She did lay in the same box today as yesterday. So we have some consistency of, 2 days. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. Steve says, had you thought of blocking a majority of those nest boxes? At this point, it gives them something to do. they don't have the, the larger area available to them yet. I don't mind looking for them. I don't know that it would be actually preventing. No, I haven't thought of doing it. You guys think I should do an experiment? I don't really feel like cutting up cardboard or something at this point. We'll see where she lays tomorrow. If she lays tomorrow. Dawn is laughing. Verna, I thought that too, because of the nest boxes. Then I thought she should toss one live chick into each nest box. No. I do have fake eggs that I was thinking about putting out into one of those nest boxes. And I got them when I got the chickens originally. And they're like, oh, well, they might not know where to lay. And I'm like, at this point, yes, they do know where to lay. So I might. Yeah. Dawn is asking thin slices. I think you can do whatever you want. Do you want more breading or more pickle? Try a bunch of them, see what you like. Brenda says, personally, I would block all but 3 nest boxes. Confusion does cause problems. Maybe. Oh, Dawn says, it's after 9. I should go release my little bird and get some PT done. Well, good luck and have a good PT. And congratulations on your progress. It's been awesome. Steve's solution is I'd get 20 more pullets. I will be hatching, just not in winter. Yeah. Good night, Dawn. Thank you for coming. Eric's here. We're trading Eric for Dawn, or Dawn for Eric, huh? He says, why do people in Athens hate waking up in the morning? Because Dawn is tough on Greece. Oh boy. Hopefully she heard that before she left. Oh, goodness. Eric, are you getting winter weather where you are? I mean, as winter may or may not happen where you are. Oh, Dawn says, if the surgeon doesn't stop my progress tomorrow, I'm going to the lake here by home walking. Ooh. And Dawn says, Eric, I heard you. Good night, Dawn. Okay, it's cold there. How cold is cold, Eric? He's in California. Because it's 33 here. Let's see if it changed. It's still 33. Still 33. Yeah. My tea tonight is spiced ginger plum, I think. Something like that. Oh, my dad's here. 28. Hi. Welcome. 57 at Verna's. 71. Steve. And you think it's going to frost? Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. So, my dad had, are you still in a wind watch or warning or whatever? We have a wind advisory through Wednesday or through until Wednesday morning, I think. So I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But yeah, it's no longer snowing. I don't think. Snow stopped quite a while ago. When I went and fed the rabbits, it was raining from the trees, but it wasn't snowing or raining. So there you go. Oh, the wind warning is for tomorrow night. Okay. Yeah, I think we have an advisory. Is all it is for here. But that is okay. I talked to someone in Shemot. I think it was Shemot. I was on a different life. And they said they had projected 30 inches, I think, for tonight, tomorrow. So that's interesting. Yeah. Eric says, son, Dad, it's too cold. Dad, stand in the corner. It's always 90 degrees there. Eric, you find the best jokes. Verna, I am 4 hours southwest. You either have to go, well, okay. From my point of view, you either have to go this way or you go this way. So there's no road that goes this way. Yeah. Not southeast, southwest. East is towards the sun. I'm towards the sunset. Yep. Eric says, it's so cold outside. I just saw a teenager with his pants pulled all the way up. Eric. Oh, goodness. Goodness. Yeah. So we were just talking about the snow and cold and winter and preparedness and hoping everybody is prepared for any outages that may happen. Reminding you guys to store some water and reminding, especially if you have, they're probably good to have anyway. I should probably find mine. But especially if you have incubators going, it's a good idea to get those hand warmers that you can just crack and activate. And they work really, really well to just throw into your incubator in a power outage. And yeah, there we go. Verna says, speaking of that, I haven't seen any white bands here either. Okay. Well, I mean, when it's cold, you keep things on. Oh, my dad's house, it got all the way up to 34. It got to 36 as far as I could see, but I didn't like check it all the time. So yeah, yeah. It definitely was right in that spot of freezing and then melting for a very long time. Like on the pavement, it was, big chunks of like fat, wet snowflake chunks falling down and then like pretty much immediately melting. And then for a little bit, it did coat the entire driveway and the entire road. And then it ended up melting pretty quick. So actually, I don't know, pretty quick. I wasn't paying attention. I was working. Anyway, Verna says at 3 p.m. here, the wind chill factor was 66. And now it's a lot less than that, right? Yeah. Yeah. So for those who are maybe just joining or are watching the replay, I want to say again that this coming weekend, both Saturday and Sunday, we're going to do the Cook With Me Live. And Cook With Me Live is something that we do every month, and we're doing a double feature because we didn't do it every month this summer because I was busy. Thank you for your patience, Katrina's Kits. So if you want to sign up, this is where to go to sign up. There's a link that I'm putting in. It's also just a join button down below the picture if you're watching it, and then it's always in the description. So we are making, on this coming Saturday, we are making pumpkin glop, which is a cooked pumpkin puree. It is an ingredient for Sunday's event. And so for that, I recommend 2 pie pumpkins, and I'm going to use a different kind of winter squash because that's what I have, but 2 pie pumpkins would be good. And then for Saturday as well, we're going to be making pie crust dough for the next day's event. So Sunday, we're going to be making pumpkin pie, and we're also going to be making pumpkin soup. So those are the things we're making this week. But yeah, so it's a whole lot of fun. You cook in your kitchen while I cook in mine, and we talk. And it's a small enough group. We actually have the ability for people to come on, and like we can actually talk to each other instead of typing, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So join us if you would like to do some of that. And I believe we're going to take it a little bit easier, but also cool stuff. We're going to do marshmallows in December. I'm going to try and do it earlier in the month so we can send marshmallows out as gifts and things. So if you want to learn that, that's something we're going to do. All right. Brenda says, according to Alexa, it is wind chill of 60. So you said it was cooler than that, or were you the 70? But anyway, Eric says, I'm no cook, but man, I know how to stir the pot. You joined us for one, right? I think you did. Steve says, I don't think you can say wind chill with a 60-degree temp. Yeah, I don't know when chill starts. Where it says pumpkin soup is good. It is. And this is a soup that is a recipe from my friend and coworker. We had it at her house one time. I don't remember what event that was, but it was super good. And I was like, can I have the recipe? So we're going to do that. It's awesome. And if you don't want to do the pumpkin glop and you just want to grab a can of pumpkin for that recipe, but not the pumpkin pie filling, because that is different. Berta says, try it on your Echo. They do give it? Okay. Steve is asking vegan marshmallows, question mark. I don't know. I have not looked up recipes for that event yet, and I know some recipes call for, I think it's egg whites. I don't think it's a whole egg. And some recipes, I think, call for some gelatin. So both of those are not vegan. Do we need them to be vegan? there are all sorts of recipes out there. So, um, yeah, I have not looked up yet. And maybe we'll do 2 types and see which one works best. I don't know. How many do we want to make? All right. Eric says, what did Mr. Pumpkin say to Mrs. Pumpkin? You're gorgeous. That's pretty good, Eric. Computer says 57. So it says 57, but the wind chill is 60. Verna, you have warm wind. Should it be the wind warm? Eric says, if a pumpkin saved people on the beach, would it be a life cord? Oh, you can get veggie gelatin? What is that made from? I'm curious because I don't know this answer. I know that it exists, but I don't know what it's made from. I'm going to guess mushrooms. I don't know why, because mushrooms tends to be the answer with vegetarian stuff. It's extra protein, it's extra all this stuff. Oh my gosh, you guys are arguing over temperature. 71 or 46. Those are not the same, Steve. Those are not the same. Oh my goodness. Well, that would make sense, Verna. I feel silly now. Plants like the mallow plant, like the marshmallow, because there is a plant called the marshmallow, and I have grown it. I feel very silly. As that's what they use for the first marshmallow. There's actually a plant called marshmallow, and its roots, I want to say. I think that's what's used is the roots. It may be other parts of it, but yeah. I knew this, Verna. I did. And you reminded me. So, anyway, that is the plan. So I'm hoping you guys like that plan and want to join, and we'll have fun. Oh, and we're also going to make whipped cream to put on the pumpkin pie because you can't not do that. I might make a small amount because we're making it the weekend before. Make it again. There we go. Just a reminder. Yeah, I mean, that was Steve's job. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, man. Man. So something else I was doing, I'm probably not going to do for a little bit, but something else I've been doing is not really cataloging, but cataloging in my head all the edible plants that I'm coming across, and I am seeing a lot of sprouts come up. There's a little snow covering them now. By little, I mean little. Like the grass on the lawn is poking through the snow, but there's a lot of things coming up or just came up, and hopefully we'll live through the snow. But I'm wanting to learn a lot of the seedlings. So at my other place, I had a pretty good knowledge about what seedlings looked like, if it was a weed, if it was a good plant, whatever. But I also have a story from my old neighbor who she planted safflower, I think. I think it was safflower. And it never came up. Well, it never came up because she was pulling too many weeds. It came up, it looked like a weed, and she was going to pull it. And so she pulled it and realized after the fact that she was pulling up the plants that she planted. So I don't know what has been previously planted in that garden space. I don't know what seeds are in that seed bank. And so I kind of want to know, I want to be able to identify some of these. So some of them I'm letting grow. Yeah, who knows what's happening now that it's, cold. But I'm planning on learning that kind of stuff. Now, I'm only really seeing that in the garden space. Other than that, it's pretty much grasses that have been growing. So, like there's grasses growing in the pasture. I do need to seed over where they put in the what's it called? Leach field. So I'm thinking about getting some grass seeds and clover seeds because I believe I can tractor rabbits over that. Probably not much, probably not heavier things than that, but I should be able to use that space for them, which will be handy. I mean, I can also use right kind of near the garden right now, but anyway, that won't be needed until babies are quite a bit older than they are now because they're probably about this big in mommy's belly. All right. Verna says, Steve reminds you of tools you need. I remind you of the knowledge you didn't bring forth. There we go. Okay. Separation of duties. Nice. Nice. Oh man. So, what are you guys looking forward to this winter? Because I am looking forward to doing a lot of house things that need to get done, and there's a lot of things that need to get done, or for the things that I want to get done to be done. And that's pretty much where I am right now. So I want to know what you guys have planned for this winter, if you are, building something new or any of that. I have indoor plans and outdoor plans. So yeah, at some point I need to um, put the mesh and stuff over the chicken run. That doesn't really have to happen until spring, but that's my goal at least. Yeah, so that's my goal. Verna is crocheting a lot and unpacking. Yeah, you got the same situation as me. Yeah. Yeah. Verna, you should do a crocheting video. Set it up and so you can teach people how to stitch. I learned crocheting once upon a time, but I only learned how to make one long string. It was and it's one long string. So don't ask me about that. Yeah. Steve says, I'm going to practice procrastination so I can learn to do it right. So when are you going to get to that? If you're going to practice procrastination, I don't know. Is that an oxymoron? Eric plans to take over the world one live stream at a time. Okay. Okay. We're getting closer, huh? Oh, man. Um, yeah, I'm hoping I have everything set for winter. Plugging in the EcoFlow, I should have done a long time ago just so I had it plugged, I had it banked. But that is making me feel better. Now that does have an app, and it does tell me, let's see. Oh, I just got told snow possible this evening. Thank you. You've been telling me all day. 9 hours, 38 minutes to go. It actually shows you what the charge is on your phone. And you can do a whole bunch of controls from it, but I haven't learned that yet. So I'm just wanting it to plug it. It really is plug and play, more so than I thought it was, because the instructions are IKEA fashion for the most part. And yeah, so we're at 52%, which is good. It started with 30%, so out of the package, out of the giant boxes, it's 30%. So there you go. Verna says I would have to start a project for just that video. What I'm working on now is a basket weave blanket. Awesome. You wouldn't have to start a new project. You can just say, hey guys, I'm working on this. Let me teach you this stitch. And then you do it. And then when you do another one, you can start over. Eric says, what do you call a Russian procrastinator? Putting it off? If procrastination was an Olympic sport, I'd probably start training tomorrow. Man. So speaking of procrastinating, I have been procrastinating on several projects, and I kind of don't know why. Like the cleaning of the walls and the painting of the walls, which I thought was going to get done like right away. Um, I've kind of dilly-dally, not kind of, I have. I think what I'm doing is I think my brain is taking a mental break and just like settling in. I think that's what's happening. So, um, it'll happen. I'm doing little bits at a time with the cleaning of the walls and the ceiling, um, very bit by bit. Verna says, "Yeah, but tomorrow never comes, as it is always today, or yesterday, or yesterday." Yeah. Well, does anybody else have other wintry things? Or any other questions or discussion topics? We kind of fiddled out. I would like to explore more of these logging trails. Um, I don't know how many of you guys saw the week in review from today. I am sorry, there is a blank spot somewhere in the middle. I do not know how that got there because I watched it through. And apparently that happened, I don't know, after, or I somehow missed it. There is a several second part where there's just nothing. So I'm sorry about that. Um, but you guys did see, or will see if you haven't, uh, in the week in review from this time, it was a lot of still pictures, so just regular pictures of kind of things I was finding, which was pretty cool. I like to do that. I like to kind of go on these little adventures and see what I can find. And something I was surprised to see is how many mushrooms that I saw. So, because local people were telling me that they come later. So I don't know if maybe a lot of the edible varieties come later, like in early spring, or maybe, you know, different kinds. I don't know. I don't know. But um, I want to learn those. And yeah, there's a bunch of different things out there. So I have a feeling the further up the hill I'll go, the more species I'll see. And there's a lot more of the hill than I've explored so far. So yeah. I did the other night look on Google Earth, and you can actually go back in time on Google Earth photos and um, and pick certain dates that have photos. I mean, you can't pick a date if it doesn't have a photo, but uh, it will actually show you older photos. And this place was logged in '94, and there is a photo of in 1994. So I don't know at what point it was logged. I don't know what point the picture. I mean, I can look. I just didn't mark it down what date the picture was taken. But usually the month is what will tell you. But it is interesting because I can see all of the different logging roads uh, that I was not aware of before. And one of them is what I hiked on the other day, and I took those pictures. I think it was Saturday. So it'll be interesting to kind of follow some of those because what happens on those is you see what's new. Now, 1994 was quite a while ago, but that's new, and then you can see kind of off of those trails. I'm calling them trails now. There's other things that are slightly different because there's some older shrubs, there's some older trees that were left and stuff like that. Now, a lot of these roads have trees in the middle of them, so I'll probably open some of them up again, if for anything, just as walking paths and to kind of thin out. And it'd be kind of cool to, play around up there. So, yeah, that is something I'm planning on doing. I'm not going to take out a lot of that in, in the winter when the rain, but it'll be in the future. For sure though. It's a lot of fun to go out there. So, yeah. Verna says, now is the time to dry out the coffee grounds. You mean just for you or for everyone? Is it to put in your plants? To put in your gorilla plants? Do you have flowers yet on your gorilla flowers? Um, what scared you, Verna? Uh-oh. I don't know what scared you. Oh, Verna says, we love it when you take us with you. Good. Good, good. I'm glad that you like that. And it's a little, so I was going to like record more on that little venture that I took, but I was like this going through trees and like this going through bushes. And so I think I probably should, I probably won't right now, but I probably should get one of those. I think they have the headbands or the harnesses for GoPro, because I have GoPro. And that would probably be maybe fun. So I don't know. Eric says procrastination is a dish best served eventually. Oh my gosh. Coffee for traction when you walk. Okay. I'm not going to get coffee just to put it out for traction. But people who drink coffee, that's a great idea. Oh. No saffron flowers yet, just the grass. The grass-like leaves. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens next year. So saffron leaves can get like a foot and a half, maybe almost 2 feet tall, but they don't grow up. They grow like this and then they kind of fall over and they're really flowy. They're really pretty looking. Yeah. Oh, okay. Steve says blank spot in the video. She thought you disappeared in your video. I don't know what happened because I I usually watch things again, like after I'm done, especially with the weekend reviews, because there's so much that is just clips going in, and voiceovers and stuff like that, that I make sure that it's all working. And I don't know what happened. What can I say? Oh, that I fell. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to worry you. No. What I did think was pretty cool was the rain in the flashlight, and that was pretty cool. Um, it looked like techno-ish or something. So, no, I did not fall. Um, yeah, the techno. Maybe I should show that. Maybe I should bring that up. Where's it? Let's do this. And see if I can cue it up. So, let's see. I think that was towards the end, wasn't it? There we go. Okay, so if anybody is has epilepsy, don't wait for us to say you're okay to open your eyes, because I don't know if this would cause anything with that, but it could. So I don't want to be responsible for that. So if you are epileptic, turn away from the screen, and I'll tell you when you can come back. All right. So that. There is the rain. I don't know why there's no sound, but it's okay. There wasn't any sound during that anyway. So yeah, that is me holding a flashlight sideways and then recording over where it's shining. it was pretty cool. Yeah, I just think it was really cool.
Hi, baby.
All right, and then there's Ringo. So that was that. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. All right, you can come back now. Thank you. Save my reminder. All right, we're not showing that rain anymore. Anybody who closed their eyes or went out of the room can come back. All right, Eric says, what do you call a cow with epilepsy? Beef jerky or milkshake? This is so sad, Eric. Oh my goodness. Yeah, and that was just an accident. I didn't like. I recorded it on purpose, but I discovered it by accident. I wasn't aiming to go out there and do that. I was coming back with, I think, the water container for the rabbits in one, like probably right here, and then I had, I think I had a flashlight here, and I don't know, probably had my phone over here. I don't know, but it just happened to be like kind of shimmery, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And so I recorded it. So that is good. Good stuff. Yeah. Today I was a little bit worried, and when it was starting to really, really come down, and the flakes were like this big, like they were that big and very heavy. Especially after my neighbor, who I hadn't met yet, came by, and she was like, "Oh, I know you knew. I want to make sure you're okay because the power goes out sometimes." And anyway, so I think she was kind of creeping into not panic mode, but getting things done mode. And I think all of that weight that could be on the limbs was probably a concern for her. So I don't know how often the power goes out here. I did hear from the previous owner that it happened often enough for him to mention it to me. But I'm hoping with my setup, I'll be okay. And I will once it's all together and all set up, it'll be okay. So yeah, but in the meantime, you just need to keep the fridges and freezers going and the heat. So like right now, I am using the mini splits. I would, in a power outage, I would switch to either the fireplace or the pellet stove, or both. I mean, definitely do the pellet stove, and that is actually in the same room as EcoFlow, so I could just plug that in. I probably would use an extension cord because I don't want to move the big battery bank. But yeah, I could just plug that in there, and then I have not gotten to my wood cutting yet, but I haven't gotten to that with kind of plans in place that I knew I had this. I know I have the pellet stove that I can plug into something. So yeah. Have you filled the wood box yet? There is very little in there, and there is actually some wood in the carport, but it's not a whole lot. It's probably enough for like maybe 3 fires. So yeah, I haven't done anything with that yet. I was going to. I read the manual of my electric chainsaw. Is not enough. Yeah. I answered before asked. Yeah. Yeah, I was already going down that path. Yeah, so I haven't done that. Should I have? Yes, I absolutely should have. I found other things to do, and whether that's a good thing or not, we'll find out. But I do know where the wood is I want to cut. Obviously, I'm going to. Maybe it's not obvious to people, but I'm going to wait for a dry day to do that on. I think she's in my head. Uh-oh, Steve, are we thinking alike? I don't know what comes next. Do I have a sled? No, I don't. I haven't had a sled since I was at my parents' house, so I think they probably still have the sleds. And if my dad's still on, he might be able to tell you. I do remember sledding as a kid, and we would sled down the road because we lived at the bottom of a like cul-de-sac, and yeah, it's It's pretty interesting to have that and have it also be a road that is also open and not really have any issues because hardly anybody lives out there. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Steve says, they make a great tool to haul wood. That is probably a good idea. I do have um, it's still in a box. I haven't put it together yet. But I did get a big, uh, like a heavy duty cart. So I can, with the idea that I would be loading up wood from somewhere in the woods and toting it out. But there you go. Um, so I will put that together eventually, and we'll see how far into the woods I'm actually able to go with it to the areas that I want to cut. I know the smaller stuff it can probably get to, the bigger stuff probably not, which is kind of opposite of what you want, right? But if I have to carry stuff out one by one, that's okay. Get my exercise somehow, right? Um, okay, so Verna says you need to make one to haul things when it's snowing. Not a bad idea. Steve says one of those cement mixing tubs too. I have a few of those. I'm using one underneath the green stalk that is in the spare room, and one underneath some other plants that I have in the spare room. I'll need to water them soon. And then I have two other ones that I got. I got them to put underneath buckets for the cleaning and the rinsing water for the the TSP that I'm using, trisodium phosphate, that I'm using to clean the walls and ceiling, because I was using newspaper and a little plastic thing, and I'm just like, it just leaks out when you bring it to the bucket and out of the bucket. You're gonna get dripped around the bucket, so I might as well just put it in one of those things. So yeah, I have some that are the plastic ones that are slanted on these two sides, and then um, yeah, so I do have some of those, and they can be used for other things, but that's what I have them for. Eric says, I have a pet termite. I named him Clint. Clint eats wood. Oh boy. How do lumberjacks keep track of how much wood they've cut down? They keep a log. Man. Um, yeah, I think the trees that were cut down here, I think 1994 is probably when they had some pretty big machinery, hence the like roads and things. Um, Other places I know, like in California, where I used to live, up in the hills there, they would have stumps that were pretty big, but they would have a notch out of them. And I haven't seen that. I haven't seen very many large stumps here, but I haven't seen that so far here. And what those stumps were, I mean, what those notches were in the stumps is what's called a springboard. And so this was a board that was, I don't know how wide it was, but maybe this wide and however long. And then at that notch end, it would taper and go like this. So you basically chop a notch into the tree, shove in this board, excuse me, and then stand on that board to use the saw. And was generally used, I believe, mostly for crosscut saws, which I have cut myself on the leg with. uh, and I have not seen that. I haven't seen that notch. Now, I could be missing it. It could be rotted, whatever. But I thought that was interesting. Thank you for the blessings. uh, so I just found that interesting that, number one, I'm not seeing large logs, and I don't know when it was logged before 94. Like if it was logged like 40 years before that, or if that was the first time or what. So I don't know the history beyond that it was logged in 94 and 95. So yeah. Anyway, random thoughts. Random thoughts. Um, Yeah. I don't remember who, but someone was saying that the mini splits wouldn't. They didn't think it would appropriately heat this house, and I don't remember who that was. It was someone on here or not. I'm catchy tonight. Are you being blessed too? Bless you. Thank you, Verna. um, but the mini splits are holding up fine. They're heating the place. Now I don't keep my place at like, I don't know what's that now. Probably like 65 or something. Yeah, it's a 65 right now. So I don't keep it at like 80 like some people do. But yawns. Did I yawn? I sneezed. I'm sorry. Don't tell me I yawn because I'm going to yawn again, Verna. Sorry. Um, so yeah, it is working. It's working good. It would probably work better if, once the windows are in, once there's insulation in the floor, stuff like that. But I haven't. I haven't. I have not done those yet. So yeah, I'm going from there. All right. Is everybody sleepy? Not much chattier today, are we? Try and come up with other wintry things. Steve says the mini split should be good to 20 to 30 degrees, but you have the backup heat, so you should be good. Okay. Yeah, this is my first time having mini split. 20 is about as low as it should get here. Now, there's always the exception, right? But yeah, I do have those backups. And I don't think they're very old. I think they were installed in the last probably 3 years or so. I don't think they're very old. But yeah, I have three sources of heat, so that's good. Eric says, why do fish live in salt water? Because pepper makes them sneeze. What? Because salt and pepper? Aaron's not late. He's not. Hi, Aaron. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Today was the first day of snow here. We had a big, wet conglomerate of flakes like this big. And there's currently about that much snow on the ground because most of it melted on impact or melted thereafter. It did cover the ground for a little bit. It did cover the street for a little bit, very little bit. But I hope you're doing well. We talked about winter, being ready for winter, talked about generators, battery bank, keeping your incubators warm if the power goes out. And I know you're like the king of power outages on here. So if you have tips, let us know what your tips are for power outage situations. And I'm sure you have a generator too. All right. Eric says, how do dentists sneeze? A tooth. Winter, what's that? Okay, how about non-winter power outages? Winter is January, isn't it? Isn't it January where you are? Oh, Steve says, I'm not sure, but she's mentioned it a lot. Well, what about your summer power outages? Come on. Aaron says backup generator and backup to that one. 2 is 1 and 1 is none. 2 is 1 and 1 is none is something I say in the video that's coming out tomorrow, which is about breeding rabbits. So yeah, it's about a lot. I mean, 2 is 1 and 1 is none is a lot of things. It's a lot of things. So I do have, I did get an EcoFlow battery bank. I mean, it's really big, and you can charge it by. You read my mind? What? You can charge it by plugging it into the wall socket. You can charge it by using a generator. You can charge it by using the low power or high power solar panels. So you can charge it multiple different ways. And I plugged it in today because I'm like, I think I should probably charge this up. Good news It's a 30% when you get it. I can tell you that. But I do also have a Honda generator, gas generator, as kind of a backup to that. So yeah, two is one and one is none. Absolutely. Steve says we had power outage just last night for 5 hours, 10 to 3. Is that just because you unplugged it when you went to bed and plugged it back in when you got up at 3 o'clock in the morning? What happened to cause you guys to have a power outage? It's gas, Steve. Yeah, it's gas. I just decided since I know it's going to be a backup, I mean, I just went with that. It was something a friend recommended that lives in Alaska, and I figured, if I'm going to get recommendations about generators for winter use, it's going to be from my friend who lives in Alaska. Hey, Gijo's Family Farm, Christina's here. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. We're talking about being prepared and winter, which Aaron has informed me you guys don't have. Aaron says, you know how to change the oil in your generator. It's more important than the gas to run it. To be honest, I have read through stuff, and that was a while ago, and I need to read it again. But yes, I have the oil. It is not yet in the generator. Yes, it should have already been. Yes, I should have already tested it. I'm not. So there's a lesson for you guys. If you haven't tested your stuff, test it now. Maybe not now. Maybe we'll have to wait till tomorrow. Yeah. Changing the oil. I mean, changing the oil is important, but why? Tell me more. Oh, Steve says not sure. Probably drunk driving into electrical. Okay. Okay. Aaron says we had 30 hours of winter last season. And Christina says it's not looking good for winter for us. Supposed to be warmer than normal. As long as your summers don't get warmer than normal, because your guys are already pretty hot. Those that don't know, Gijo's Family Farm, which is Christina and Aaron, they're in Louisiana, so they get a month of winter. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Aaron. I'm sure it probably has it in the manual. I'm guessing it's probably pretty easy, but judging from your comment, maybe not. It's a small Honda generator. It's like this big. It's not one of the huge ones. Yeah. Thank you. Eric says my generator just ran out of fuel. I feel so powerless. Know your frequency for changing it. Okay. I mean, it's going to be the same thing with like using up the gas before it goes bad, because I do have gas that is bad, or I'm assuming is bad, in about that much in a gas tank, gas can, not a tank. But I'm thinking I probably will just add it to a burn pile. Yeah. Christina says we have a little cold front coming through tomorrow, and I have the sweatshirts ready. So what does that mean? 65? Sue says some have to have the cover come off to change it. Some do not. Oh, okay. Okay. Got it. And Aaron says the oil, especially in colder climates, will gel up once the carbon buildup gets to the oil. Typically, for air-cooled units like yours, you would want to check oil daily and change after 96 hours. Okay. Yeah. And what classifies as colder climates? Because it only is supposed to get down to like 20 ever here, maybe 15. But yeah, good to know. See, these are the things I don't know. Go get you some Stabil for that gas. That's the additive, right? For new gas, right? Not for old gas. 50s. Oh my gosh. Christina, it's going to be so cold. It's 33 here right now, and we had snow, but it was very wet snow. So, yeah. Has anybody signed up for the COCOROS, the weather reporting, the precipitation reporting? Who's on here? I know. I think Erica did. Yeah, Erica did. I don't know if anybody else did. But it is a pretty cool thing to COCOROS. It's a pretty cool thing to be involved in and report. I'm a little confused on how I'm going to report tomorrow because it snowed, but it was wet. And I'm not going to be able to scoop up any of it probably by the morning because I think it's supposed to rain. Anyway, it'll be interesting. COCOROS weather. So here's the link for that video. Aaron says, I won't get scientific on oil because it's way too late at night, but climates like yours is considered cold. Okay, when it pertains to oil. Oil classifications. Okay. You're supposed to be able to put it in gas that is, over a year old and good to put in when you're not going to use it for a while. Okay. I honestly don't know how old it is. I know when I last used the gas cans was a very, very long time ago. I also don't know if I was the last one to put gas in. And if I wasn't the last one to put gas in, I don't know if it was mixture, which it shouldn't be, but I don't know. If I was the one put it in, it would have been straight gas. So that's why I'm thinking I might use it on a fire. So, yeah. All right, so we talked at the beginning about what we're growing right now, and I am going to get started at some point. I'm trying to think if I want to do it this week or maybe this weekend. Maybe I'll do it this week. Maybe I'll do it partway through the week. But I want to start more sprouts, so I'll show you guys a video on that. I'm starting sprouts, and I'll probably do alfalfa sprouts. I know I have a couple other things. I have mung beans and some other things, so I'll do that and show you guys that process again. Aaron says, I'm trained in failure analysis on engines and had to sit in a classroom for days learning about engine oil breaking down. So you're the person to know these things, is what you're saying. You're saying you're an expert. All right. I believe you. Steve, you are the reminder, and you may continue to be the reminder. It is still November. No, garlic goes in the ground in November, right? It did where I used to live, and I think it does here. Should I have put it in already? Yes. Is it in a box, still sealed in the other room? Yes. Oh. Steve, I just needed to give you something to remind me. Yeah, Christina says he literally is an expert on this stuff. Okay. Aaron, I'm going to take your advice. Failure analysis. So not like preventing, just analyzing what happened after. Sorry. Oh man. Yeah, so that's kind of a break in my knowledge that I mean, you guys know me. I always want to know how to do stuff and background for all sorts of stuff. But that's a gap in my knowledge, is that kind of stuff. So I definitely am learning it and would like to learn more. I don't need to know the full failure analysis of engines, but just how it might affect what I'm doing. Yeah. But something that I would like to do I'm going to say this winter, I probably should have said fall, but that's okay, is to put in or have put in a hand pump for the well, because that's a weakness of this property, is if the power goes out, the well goes out. And until I get the panel set up for the EcoFlow, which I don't, it's not on my immediate radar. It should be maybe, but it's not. Then that won't be connected up. So doing a hand pump would be good. And yeah, so that is in my plans. I just have to research a little bit more about them. There's some expensive ones, there's some cheap ones, there's some that have to have a set amount of depth. Mine's only 7 feet, so I don't know if there's a short one and one that does well in for short wells. But yeah. Aaron says it's for a warranty on engines. I'm supposed to be able to look at an engine after a catastrophic failure and determine the how, what, when, and why it failed. Okay. So you do have to know, like, basically everything. Aaron knows everything. That's just what we should take from that. They are called shallow wells. Thanks. You say start digging and put a bucket down? Not a bad idea, huh? No, I think there is actually a old well down in the it's actually in at the edge of the hayfield. Take off a cover and it goes down quite a ways, I think, to the groundwater. If I needed it, I could use it. I don't plan on it right now. And it would need quite a bit of rope. I think it's like 14 feet down, probably, about to the water level. But yeah. But thank you for your astute observation, Steve. All right, we are after 8. Is there anything anybody wants to talk about? And all that, and we can keep talking well stuff if we want. I know Aaron and Christina just came on. I don't know if anybody else just came on, but sometimes we have new people at the end and we get into different discussions and they can be interesting. So Aaron says I can dig 2 feet and hit the water table in my yard. Well, pun intended. I can just scoop it up at ground level with the rain we had today. Oh, you got rain today? Man. Good night, Brenna. Thank you for moderating and have a good night. Yeah, so 2 feet is not very not very far. I know Foster City on the San Francisco Bay. I had a project site there one time that it was so weird because I went there and nobody warned me about this. Nobody. I went there and I'm doing my survey. I'm walking around and they're knocking down things. And it's like shakes the ground, but shakes it like in a different way. And I was really confused about the way the earth was shaking. And then I noticed a big truck went by on the road next, like I was on the sidewalk and the road next to me. And I felt like the earth was going like this. It's like a big waterbed. And that's exactly what Foster City is. They have to have special concrete to build special foundations for their buildings, especially the ones that are more than one story. Because I think they said they were 4 feet down was the groundwater, and basically because it's on like the mud flats and all that, it's like the sponge that moves with large moving objects. It can affect. It is very weird, very weird. If you want to walk on a giant waterbed like thing and it's natural, go to Foster City. Yeah. Aaron says I'm around 2 feet elevation. Wow. It's between 14 and 15, I think, 100 at the house here. But I know my well is at 7 feet. And yeah, that's what I know. That's what I know. Anyway, you guys have any other discussion topics or questions you want to ask? Go ahead. I will stay on here for a little bit. See if we get anybody talking. If not, we will say goodnight and have dinner. I have a bean soup with some rabbit. That's what I have for dinner. I'm giving blood on Wednesday, so keeping that iron good. Aaron says, when are you adding quail at the new place? I am adding quail at the new place when I have a spot for them. My plan is to have a high tunnel so that I can, big, tall greenhouse, so that I can grow some of the trees that are kind of on the edges here, like some of the citrus and some of the avocado and stuff like that. And I know citrus and avocado you're not supposed to have by the birds, but maybe I'll block off where the avocado is. And I want to have quail in the understory, basically, within that structure. And that the things that have to happen before that happens is I have to, here, you want things to remind me? I have to call the water master, see where my water rights are up on the hill, and whether or not I'm going to actually do that or use my current well. I haven't done this assessment yet. Figure out a location, either based on that decision, figure out a location, get it graded, and then get one of those structures and put it up. So my goal is sometime spring. It might be late spring, but my goal is sometime in spring. And I really want to have a really good place for them that makes sense. I don't want to get them and then stick with, I started to-do list. I have one. I have several. So yeah, I do a whole bunch of things. I have to do a whole bunch of things in order to get to that point. But I want to do it right. I don't want to just jump into it. I know quail. I like quail. I'm going to grow them. I just need to do the steps right. Steve is asking, those rabbit cages fixed yet? So they're in the right place. One of them, Risotto and Penne's hutch, is a little too high, so that needs to be corrected. But they're in the right place now. They're going to be corrected through time for the rest of it. And I've made some of the corrections. So yeah, not all the fixes are done yet, but they're level, they're moved, they're level. So that is good. There's a hair in your soup. Yep. Well, rabbits and hair is different, but it's a good joke. If a clown farts, does it smell funny? I mean, maybe. Depends what they ate, when they ate. Aaron says, if you need some extra things, I can give you some off my list. You want to trade? No, I don't need any more on my list because I have enough that I put on my list myself. I don't need any more. Oh my goodness. Yeah. No, I have a lot on my list, and I have a lot of people I have to contact, but then I also work. So I have to choose those in very strategic places so that I can actually make a phone call and get more work done. So yeah, I've had lots of deadlines, so I've not been calling places. So yeah. Aaron, you're never done building infrastructure. Never. Because you're always adding on to things, right? You could be done growing, building infrastructure if you wanted to, but that's not a thing. It's not a thing. For now. Exactly, Steve. Exactly. Ha, 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 ha. Yeah. No, I'm planning on doing quail in the spring, like later in the spring. And I am planning. Are you ever done? No, you're not, Steve. I am planning, Aaron, Christina, if you still have the American breasts chickens later, not now. I can order some eggs from you because I think I'd like to do those once the chicken stuff is done. And I know they're staying inside for a long time and they're not going to go out there until then, but I played that game before. I want to make sure that there's like, you know, something for them to go into when they grow up. Yeah. Aaron says, listen to me. I'm not adding any more quail. I'm at max capacity. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, I mean, you still have grass, so. Aaron says American breasts and silkies are the only chickens we have. Okay. Yeah, exactly, Steve. Need more infrastructure for quail. Exactly. Yep. Yeah. No, I want to be smart about the steps I take here um, because they're going to be here a long time. So whereas at my old place, I was putting things up pretty quickly. They're also much smaller. But I was putting things up pretty quickly. I was doing things very quickly, but the space that was required was, very small. Space that was available, very small. I already had water to everything, or it was very easy to get it there. I could get power to everything very easily. This is a kind of a different situation now because not only would I have to get those things there, but they would have to be buried because it does freeze here. Now, how deep are water lines buried here? 2 feet. 2 feet is what it is. It's 24 inches is what water is buried here. So it doesn't. It's not expected to freeze all the way down like a lot of places. So yeah. Aaron says I have way too many quail. Amy just came on. Amy, I'm supposed to be done. Hi ho, everyone. She says, hi, Amy. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're doing well. We've been talking about winter and plans for winter and spring, I guess, is what we would sum it up as. Oh, Aaron's feeder video. I did see that one. I did see that one. Yeah, I have a feeder video too. They're very different, but it accomplishes the same thing. Basically, they can't. They can't. So the one that Aaron shows. Thanks for watching it. You're welcome. You're probably talking to Amy, but I watched it too. The one that Aaron shows has like, I would almost describe it as blinders that they have to put their head into to get stuff out of. So it doesn't allow them to kind of do these flicking maneuvers that they might do. And the one that I have is they reach in and they go down and then it's basically the same thing that they have to pull it out. They can't like flick it. Yeah. Feeder with the lid. Yeah. Yeah. Aaron, I have not watched any of that yet. The biosecurity video with two chicks turnix. I I have it opened on the computer and I want to pay attention. And I have been doing way too many things that have my attention. Oftentimes when I'm doing other things, I'll listen to YouTube videos or I'll watch YouTube videos, like watch as I'm doing other things. But if I want to actually pay attention, I will sit and watch. And that's when I want to sit and watch. Yeah. A J feeder modification, you have video. Awesome. Awesome. Exactly, Amy. That is a great way to put it. They can't thrash their heads. Very heavy metal quail. They don't even have the little plume. They should, huh? Yeah. No, they don't thrash, and that's exactly what it is they do this like when they pick through things like on the floor of aviary. aviary, they'll like go like this and they'll fling things kind of side to side and in the front and all that, and they can't do that motion with either one of those feeders. Yeah. Yeah, those would be punk rock quail. Okay, not just rockers. We got punk rock with a plume. Yeah, they're fun to watch. I do miss them. Um, but yeah, I don't want to just rush into making structures and things, especially since I have winter here and I need to have the winter watering stuff figured out. So with the rabbits, I just go out there every day and they have a rubber bowl and I'm doing that. Eventually, I'll set them up with the summer water, which is the same system I did, and I have a video on that, on how to set up a automatic waterer. Um, and the chickens right now they have I think it's like 3 gallons, but it is a heated water, and I have that plugged into a thermocube, which turns on when it hits 35 degrees. So there we go. Okay. Amy says, I gave up on the J feeders I have. I'm using Tupperware, but that is performing fair, but not great. Amy, I'm going to put the link for it's the ultimate quail feeder. And quail feeder. And you can adapt what you have already to this. And you just get 1-inch PVC angles, 90-degree angles, and then cut out a portion, and you can affix it to what you already have, and use it there. So check out that video, and hopefully that helps you. Otherwise, you can get something prefabricated like what Aaron showed in his. Yeah. And Aaron says, I'm on a video recording break till tomorrow. I feel like I've been in front of a camera way too much for my liking. Hey, yeah, you'll get used to it, but it's also it's an interesting thing. Just think that you're talking to one of us. Think you're talking directly to me, through that camera. You're talking directly to, someone else on here that you actually know in person. And that I think will help a lot. But you're doing good. You're doing good. Amy says, Gamble's quail or valley quail have the top knot. Yeah, so the California Valley quail has one and it's like this little plume. Gamble's kind of stick straight up, and then mountain quails stick straight up. Anyway, yeah, they'll have the plume. All right. Aaron says, Amy, you will like the J feeder video. It should be out tomorrow. Awesome. Awesome. J feeder and brooder feeder. Good. Steve says, making videos is nice. Uploading them is even better. Steve, I'm going to revise your comment. Making videos is nice. Editing and uploading them is even better. There you go. Shoveling muscles are done. Did you get snow? We got snow today, Amy. Ultimate sounds very encouraging. It's a no waste feeder. Once I had that in there, I don't even know when I made it. When did I make it? When did this come out? What date is this? It doesn't tell me in this part. Let's go to the actual thing. It was 2 years ago. So 2 years minus however long I've been here is how long it has worked as a no waste feeder. So yeah. You're welcome. Yeah, the port feeders. So this is going to be similar, but it's going to be a little different because the port feeders that I've seen at least just narrows the area they can get it from, whereas the 90-degree angle, they can put their whole head in and down, and then scoop it up. So like they're getting food, but they're not thrashing. They're not going like that. So when they can peck at it directly, they can still peck it and it'll come out. But if they peck at it directly in a 90 degree, it's just going to stay in there. I think that's how it works. Anyway, it works. And yes, they did come with me. Yeah, Gamble and Valley Quill both have top knot. I think it's called plume. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Sorry. All right, Amy's plans for winter. Compost, yards and yards. I made a new 3-bin system. The old one was in a moderate state of decay. Awesome. I have never used a 3-bin system. I know how they work. I know how they are, how to maintain them and all that. I've never done it though. Composting growing up was in the compost bin, basically. I mean, we went out and threw it in. My mom started composting and, we did it that way. And then at my place in Gilroy, it was either worm composting or feed it to the birds. And that's pretty much what I've done. And then the poo gets composted either in the wood chip walkway that I had, or in the like deep litter of the aviaries. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. The world does want to hear what conversations we have, Erin. They may want to know. Amy says the song from the Birds goes with it. Do everything turn, turn, turn. Oh my gosh. There we go. That works. Oh boy. All right. Well, I think thank you guys for coming on late. Or I'm sorry, not late, later. I do need to eat dinner though. So, if anybody doesn't have anything urgent to say, something fun to say, I think we're gonna hang up. Anyway, thank you guys for hopping on here. Thank you guys for watching videos and chatting and all of that. And yeah, thank you for being you. Amy's headed to bed. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. We're going to be on here, same channel, same time next Monday. That is 6 p.m. Pacific time. And then a reminder, Katrina's Kits is a Cook With Me Live. Buster's chiming in. I've been listening while working. So we're going to do Cook With Me Live this weekend. We are making pumpkin pie and pumpkin soup, and they are very, very good. And so Saturday, we're going to be making the pumpkin glop, which is the puree of the pumpkin that's cooked, and the pumpkin pie, the pie, like the dough for the plates. And then on Sunday, we're going to be putting it all together and having a wonderful time. Yeah. So thank you guys. Have a wonderful week. And then this week's videos are going to be all about breeding rabbits, and that will be our topic for next week. So come prepared with questions. You don't have to be prepared. Come on. But next week we're going to be talking about breeding rabbits, since this week's video is all about that. So thank you for watching, and we will see you next week. Have a wonderful night.